We are so excited to share this episode with you again, where we sit down and talk with multifaceted shaman, healer, spiritual guide, and artist, Atousa Raissyan. Discover how Atousa's journey from electrical engineering to a heart-centered career offers profound insights to overcoming fears, embracing authenticity, and letting your inner light shine. Let's get started.
It's time for another kick-ass spirit conversation. I am Kim.
I'm Louise.
And we are joined by
Atousa. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Atousa. We're so glad to have you here. We're going to learn all about you in just a little bit. But we want to start this episode as we start all episodes. What are we celebrating this week?
Celebrating breathing, it sounds like. This whole, Kim, you and I were talking about this, throughout the week, and maybe even last week or on the weekend too, is about, this space and this time that I feel like I'm in, about, releasing and letting go of the things that no longer serve me. And I feel like this week has really been, a big, and I'm not just my breath that I'm letting go of, but some things that aren't serving me. I'm really leaning into that. I don't know. Maybe it's a simplification of things, not making things in life so complicated. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just time to clean, to make room for something else and something new. But I really am celebrating just kind of that release and not overthinking any of it, just leaning right in. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
There's that Scorpio new moon that you're loving that energy right now.
Woohoo!
Absolutely. Atousa, what are you celebrating?
Honestly, this week for me, sunrise. That's what keeps coming up. I'm an early morning person, and when the time shifted, it allowed me, especially this time of year, I get to see these gorgeous sunrises from the house. And I even on, I think it was Instagram, I said, get ready, I'm going to be posting a lot of sunrise pictures for you guys. So I just love it. The colors is just always, I'm amazed, how can sky do this? I mean, how is this possible? All these different colors, and it's just, we're so blessed. And yeah, I just sit there in the mornings, look at the sunrise, oh,
Oh, I love that. I feel like I haven't seen a good sunrise in a while. So I took that into your eyes. So thank you for that. Where we live, it's hard to see a good sunrise. It's really interesting. They're special. They're really special. I see good sunset.
I do time lapses, actually. I've done a couple of time lapses. I posted them on my social media because it's just, the whole thing is just amazing for me. I watch the sunrise, and then I go back and watch the time lapse. I'm like, oh my God, look at it. It's just it's a fast moving, a sun. It's just the colors come up. Oh, it's purple. And then it goes whoop. It's so amazing.
Right? Isn't it? So we were in St. John's, Newfoundland, and there's a tower, and it is the furthest point east in North America. So we were up one morning to see the very first sunrise that anybody would see in all of North America. It was so amazing. I mean, seeing the sunrise over the ocean, over the Atlantic Ocean, was gorgeous anyway. But to also have that sense of and now everybody else gets to see this. It was so cool. There was something really magical, and you're right, because I did the same thing. I did a time lapse for that one. And going back and watching it, it's
yeah, now I never get tired. I can be oh, let's watch it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, so I think for me, I'm celebrating, and it is what Louisa is talking about, the sense of release, and it's also relief. That I didn't even know that I had. I saw my acupuncturist this morning. Normally I go at the end of the day when I see her, but I was like, oh, for some reason, 2 weeks ago when I set this up, I set it for the morning. And when I went in this morning, I had some tightness that I did not understand. And when I came home, I was like, I feel really kind of beaten up a little bit. And like, bro, a lot of needles, and there was some cupping involved, and it was intense. So I was feeling a little beat up, feeling the doctor there wanting to release. And throughout the day, though, I'm noticing so much more release. Like yeah. So I am still renewing the support that gets us to that place of release and relief. Like that just feels very real to me right now.
Yeah, let's just go.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, as you were talking, that's the feeling you got.
And that's exactly how I've been instructed. Yummy. Just yummy. Just before we go any further, I want to officially introduce the worldview. So I'm going to share your bio with everybody. So Atousa is recognized as a shaman, transformational, heart-centered healer, and spiritual guide, motivational speaker. She's also a best-selling author, poet, and digital artist. And the beautiful woman. Her passion is to help people light up by guiding them to release, there's that release their traumas and reprogram their fear-based living to a more heart-centered, peaceful life. Atousa's extensive experience comes from years of transforming the life of her clients to tap into their truth, heart, and experience their desired life, and in turn change the lives of those around them. Because of this transformational experience, your clients refer to her as guiding light. Excuse me, life-changing, best teacher and mentor, game changer, and magic. She's been featured in USA Today, Potomac Lifestyle Magazine, Entrepreneur Apparel, and she has been a guest speaker on numerous podcasts, including this one, workshop, and summit. The truth will be so happy.
Actually, thank you. It's really good to be here. I'm really excited. I've been looking forward the whole day. I was like, counting down.
I'm so curious. Like your bio there is like it's such an array of pieces, right? That have been put together to describe you and where you show up and how you make your way in the world. I'm really curious, like how did you get to this spot? Like what kind of career journey and choices have you made along the way that allow you to kind of collect those experiences and show up here today doing what you're doing?
Thank you for that question. Honestly, that's one of the best questions that anyone has asked me. So the career stuff is by study, like my college. I actually got my master's in electrical engineering, and it was probably now officially, I want to say 12 years ago. I don't know. I've lost count how many every years ago it was that I switched over, like completely, like closed that and then switched to this side of the sort of my brain, whatever you want to call it. And the major thing for me, I would say, during these years, and especially now, is releasing my fears. Any fear that comes up, I'm like, yeah, okay, gotta go. Let's go. Come on, let's feel it. Let's get in there. And as you said, release it. And releasing those fears and not living by other people's standards for me and what they say it's right. So breaking the rules that were created based on those fears as well has let me hear that I don't want to live in a box anymore. It's funny, every time somebody comes to me and says, I get all these phone calls, I'm sure you guys do, like marketing calls, and let us help you do this. And some of them I'm like, okay, let's see what they got to say. And as soon as they start, I'm like, nope. And they're like, well, this is how it's got to be done. Everybody does it that way. I said, yeah, you missed the first point. I told you got to do it my way. Because I'm not going to do this like anyone. You can't ask me like, oh, you got to narrow your focus and do one thing. I'm an energetical being, and my energy flows wherever it wants to go, whether it be in art, whether it be in a book, whether it be in a poem, whether it be in a conversation with someone. So why would I want to just say I'm this? I'm all of this. That's all part of me. Who I am makes me who I am. And I think that's part of the success is just really following my heart wherever it does. I recently, they're not really announced, but I've added a couple of more branches as well. And I was laughing at one of these things that they were announcing. It was like, I wonder what they say if I add these two other couple of things in there as well now. Because it's me. I go where the energy takes me.
What was that like for you before? Like, it sounds like, right, like you had like a pivotal moment in your career, like an electrical engine. Not every electrical engineer like ends up doing what you're doing. And so, like, what was that moment that allowed you to leave one, I don't know, phase of your life behind and lean into this? Like, what was that pivoting point like for you?
I got kicked in the behind by the universe, basically. The universe said, stop.
Mm.
I the pivotal moment was I was going through a very hard divorce. I came out of an abusive relationship into a hard divorce process. I had a almost 3-year-old son at that point, and there was so much other stuff that had happened before, and I kept like trying to do my work. I would sit in front of the screen, and I was like, and I was really good at this job. This job was like, I was like fast. I was doing it, and I would sit in front of the computer. I'm like, I can't. People wouldn't understand. I'm like, you don't understand. It's not that I'm stressed. I'm looking at the words. It's like I can't see these words. I can't comprehend them. They don't look like English alphabets to me. I don't know what it is. And they're like, okay, do this. And after I think it was like a month or so of this nonsense of just crying in front of the computer, I said, okay, enough. Obviously, this is not working. And I took a break and I said, okay, I can't give me a leave of absence, paid leave, whatever. I can't do this right now. And, then after a little bit, I said, okay, let me go find another job. Let me see, maybe, I don't think I can go back to that. So let me just do a job again. And I go like, resumes is what I knew. Let's do resumes. Different kinds of resumes, let's do overqualified, underqualified, whatever you tell me. And I kept sending out different kinds, and people are like, how come you're not getting hired? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, oh, you need to change your resume. I said, which kind of format do you think is best? And it was like, and I knew universe is like, stop the nonsense. And at some point I said, okay, I'm stopping the nonsense. Let's do this. And first it was with my art, and I laugh about it because I have no art background. I didn't take any really official art classes or anything like that. Like my whole arts class was like one charcoal class that I took as an adult, and whatever class I took in like middle school, and that was it. That was pretty much it as far as what art was to me. But here I've like put my stuff out there and called myself an artist. I did an exhibition, and I'm like, who does that? Like I just started out. This is like as soon as I start, like I don't know, 6 months into it, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do an exhibition. Why not?
So why not?
Yeah.
Well, I love that question. It's like, who does that? You do that,
Yeah.
right? I think because I have asked myself that same question many times. Who does that? It's like, oh, that's right. That's me. I do that. I do that. I show up there. And it's so funny because you said who goes from electrical engineer to what you're doing. And in all of these elements of you, right? First of all, like, my spookies. I got all excited because I love talking to fellow multi-passionate people. Like, there is something really special to being able to say there are all of these parts of me and all of those parts make me whole. And so I'm going to own it. So, right, it's like that listening to the universe, but even more listening to yourself and trusting yourself to get to that place of this is who I am. And who does that? That's me. I am. Right. For me, I am a recovering attorney, right? And I do energy healing. And I'm right. I can help you with your nonprofit. And I am an artist. and I am a theater geek, and like I am all these things.
Yeah.
And without all those branches. And so when you said, what if I added this extra branches? I was like, oh yeah, dude. I got excited for you.
I love it. I love it. I mean, like, you're talking, and I'm like, yes, yes, because I want more people, especially if you're coming off of those careers that you were so boxed in that you couldn't move, and you're changing. Why put yourself in another box? The beauty of you, like you said, when you're saying, I am, I am, I am, that's it. I am this, that, all of it is me. I am. And I'm even more stuff that I even didn't put in yet. I am this universe that I'm creating. So, let's go get more people. Everybody listen,
Right.
come on.
Well, and that's the essence of what we're speaking about today. Right? Letting your light shine. And your light shines by owning who you are. Right? I think you're a beautiful example of like, I have 97 different, I too have 97 different ways that I put out my resume. And then if I lose, like, I actually don't want to put out a freaking resume anymore. Put it on paper. Right? But it's owning us and it's letting ourselves, letting our light shine. I mentioned the word trust, right? This place of trust. Did that resonate with you? Like, do you feel like you trust yourself?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't do what I do without trusting myself. And universe, and that's what I try to get people to understand. Trust is a practice. Trust is going to take time, because trusting yourself is also trusting the universe. Trusting that, I know I'm connected. And I know whatever is coming from my heart, it is whatever I'm supposed to follow and be. And this heart is connected to a bigger source, the universe, that's got my back. I've got this big army behind me. And when it says go, I go. Like, yeah, let's go. And, but you have to practice it. And I think several times I've said this now. It's like there were times I felt like universe, had me by hair, and it's like, do you trust me? I'm like, yeah, you've given me enough practices. I trust you. Let's go. Because it's going to be scary. I mean, releasing those fears is not like, oh, okay. Oh, hello, fear. Goodbye. No. You got to go in it. You got to go feel it. You got to go, no, I trust myself. Let's go in there. Let's go.
Yeah, it's such a tricky place, right? Like trust is like, do you need it to build it, and right? And then you build it and you have it, and it's like chicken egg kind of thing over and over and over again.
Yes.
Right. And it's so interesting because it does take a lot of trust to stop doing what you should or you've been told to do. Right. Especially in the work that we do. Right. We get stuck on these paths, and then all that trust, like we don't practice that because it's like, here's the path and I'm just walking it. Right. Opportunity comes, I take it. Like we don't have any place where we're actually exercising our trust or leaning into the fear, because we have this, like, it's not just a path we're walking, it's a freaking interstate, right? And we're just going. And we don't have an opportunity to even pause for a moment to feel a fear or to build our trust in ourselves. And we forget. If we're not practicing it, we don't have it. I love that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Trust is one of my favorite words, and you gotta have it. Even when I switched, it wasn't just like at the beginning when I switched to this, I don't know. I don't want to call it career because it's not a career. It's like the work I do, even throughout this work, as I got, into it more and more and more, still universe is like, I was talking to someone, I used to have like my vision, third eye, whatever you want to call it. It was open. I was seeing things, color, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly it was like, poof, it closed. And I knew as soon as it closed, it was like, universe told me, okay, you relied on this too much, now go use the other senses. It was scary. And I'm seeing clients, it's like somebody that like, they tied my hands behind my back and said, do the work. And I was like, do you want me to do this work now? And I had to, but I said, okay, it's for a purpose. Let's go see. Let's go. I trust you. I trust this is for a reason. It's practice. Let's go get the practice I need. And did it.
Yeah. Those foundational pieces that we don't really pay attention to, right? We have to know ourselves, our values, right? Understanding like our purpose and like what really is our mission that we have in this life? What is the reason for getting up on Monday morning? And understanding that. And then you build your life around that instead of using the outside stuff to build the inside stuff.
Perfect.
That, I mean, for me, it's all about vision, and whether it comes from a third eye or from somewhere else, having that vision for yourself through a business for whatever branch of your business or life you're following, to have that vision, to know what you're moving towards. Now, for me, I always encourage those that I'm working with and for myself to create that vision bigger than I think that I can ever accomplish. Because that then gives us, right? It's like the universe being at your back, except for it's in front of you. It gives you that opportunity to say, I'm going to keep going towards that. And it doesn't matter what branch you're pulling on. It's all moving in that direction. And so to me, like that vision is where now I have something to kind of bolster that trust when I go to those moments of, okay, my arm is tight behind my back because now I can't use my third eye, or I can't use, right, whatever it is that I had been relying on. There was a point, right, when I lost my voice, I don't know, 6-8 months ago. And so much of what I was doing at that time was relying on my voice, and to not rely on that and to start showing up in a different way was really, really scary. And yet I knew that no matter what I was creating, whatever I was doing, I was still going in the same direction that I had set out for. That didn't change. So to me, it has shown both of us in front of us and once, kind of, as you said, behind us or supporting that. And I'm super curious around this idea of like going back to that light within us and seeing it within ourselves and to trust that is there. Even in the way back, Bashim, when you went into electrical engineering, how did that show up in your body, in yourself, that you knew this was a path for you?
I would say at some point I actually turned off everything. That's how I ended up with the engineering, because I was at that point I was so focused, like you mentioned, outside world and not the inside. And all my goal was, how can I be loved? How can I be accepted? How can I be approved from the outside, not inside? And so all the shift went from, because I remember as a kid that, what I wanted and, how I interacted with people and I knew things. And then suddenly it just, at some point it stopped. It shifted to this thing that, no, this is not safe. My environment is not safe. And I need to get control. And the only way I knew how to get control was getting the money and the degree and all those things, so that the outside world at least is approving me, accepting me, and loving me, so that would feel safe and secure for me. But then, the light is like, you can't really shut me off. I'm in here, and every once in a while I would like, okay, let me go read this, or let me go learn this, or look at this. So I would like do a little bit here and there. And then until that point that it just said, okay, now stop the nonsense. It's time.
Yeah.
But it was like, but the funny thing is, like, I didn't realize it until much later when after that moment that I switched everything and I came and released, like, it was just like everything, like, okay, go, go, go. And I sat back. It's like, at that point, I realized actually all of that too was part of it and needed. I thought I had turned off my light, but even that turning off light was for a purpose. I chose to do that to get this practice that I needed to be able to do the work I'm doing. Because without that, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff now.
Well, because there was something that you were, and we often make choices, and this is that led you to the work of dealing with fear, releasing fear, because the fear that you had of being accepted, of having the security, of having the safety, right, counting having there, and then finding yourself in this position where you weren't having that, right? Maybe the financial security was there, but then all this other stuff was coming up, right? In terms of what you would share with it. And so that place is saying, well, I've created something that was supposed to serve this need, and it's still not serving that need. So now I don't need that thing. What do I now need? And so that evolution of self, right? Yeah.
Exactly. By the way, the universe took the financials away as well. It wasn't going to leave me anything. I was like, we're going to start from zero. Go. Trust.
Yeah. Well, because that was what you had created in your reality of this is what I need to be safe and secure. And in reality, that's not what you needed to be safe and secure. You found that out. It sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. No, all that stuff that I had built, and again, the whole thing too is that we are creating all of it. I have been creating all of this up to this point. The stuff I didn't like, the stuff I liked, all of it. Everything up to this point and future is going to be my creation. But we're sort of like realizing now we're in and out of this dream that, I'm doing it, not doing it. And so, yeah, I created all of that, and all of it together needed to be removed at one, in one setting in order for me to switch so quickly and do this. So sort of like I set this program, hey, Atousa, when you get to here, this is going to come off. I program, like if I was sitting there doing the programming, at this moment, the program is going to terminate and a new program is going to be put in place. So, yeah.
So I'm not curious from both of you, or just jump in and answer this question, because I, like a lot of our audience and the folks that I coach, come to me when they're at that point where it's like, I don't know, like, what's next. Like, I know what I'm doing has turned off my light, and I don't know how to turn it back on, or I don't know how to brighten it, or I don't know what that next thing is, because I've been in this darker place for so long. So what advice, or how can you help someone kind of turn that light back on? Like, what do they need to hear to know that there is a light or a new program, or what's next?
For me is I would tell them when they're making that statement, their fear is not letting them see the next step, because fear is telling them, how are you going to make your money? How are you going to be safe? How are you going to support your family? How are you going to support yourself? Are you kidding me? You've done all this and now you're going to give it up and go out there and do what? People are going to think you're nuts. So all the fears are coming up. So instead of asking what's the next step, sit with the fears to, at least, even if you're not releasing it, recognize that the fear is there. Accept that the fear is there. Get comfortable with it. Don't run away from it. Don't shy away. Look at it. I have this fear. Own it. Take responsibility for it. And by doing that, then you're gonna start saying, okay, now it's not so scary. I keep saying, I was like, before it's like, oh, I don't want to look at it. Now I looked at it. Yeah, it is scary, but not that scary anymore. Sort of the intensity of it calms down. And then you can break it piece by piece and gradually start doing things that really excites you? It's not for the money. Put money aside. What excites me in this moment? What do I want to do? I want to go for a run. Great. Follow that passion. Follow what your heart is saying, even for a run. My heart is telling me, go sit out and have a coffee. Go do it, because you don't know what the next thing is. You could be sitting having coffee with someone, and then someone else sits next to you. You start talking, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, the light bulb goes off, and you find, oh, I know what I want to do now. So that's the thing. First, fear, break it, and then follow your heart.
100%. That I was just having this conversation in our in the closing session for my Embodied Business Accelerator cohort, and I said to them, right, you're gonna want to go here. Like, you want to make this change, so you need to list out, put in writing, what are all those limiting beliefs? What are those fears that just get it entertaining that this is where you want to go? What are those fears that are going to come up? Write them down, see them, acknowledge them as real, because that takes the power away. And then that second part, so to add on, right, is the body, is the body's wisdom, is being really present in the moment. Lucy and I did this in our mini class yesterday, is allowing ourselves to have presence in terms of present moment presence, being really mindful, allows us to not be in that future thought or past thought. And when we're in that present moment, we can start to understand what we enjoy, what we like, what we don't like. And turning that light back on comes from that place. In my experience, right? It comes from actually listening to the wisdom in our bodies. It starts with being really present with ourselves and acknowledging all these other fears that are coming up. So it's like a decade. So do you have something to add on to that from there, Louise?
Well, I think it's so interesting because we're not just talking about trust, because right here, like, we're also talking about like this whole idea of like doing it your own way, right? And so listening, so it's recognizing like your own light as your unique light, and what you're going to do with that in the world is like your own unique thing that you're going to put out. Like, we really are unicorns, right? And we all have this magical part of us that we gift to the world in some way. And I hear so many times clients and people say, well, like, that's just not realistic. Like, I'm not going to vision that. I'm not going to dream that big because that's just not realistic. And it is the fears, right, that limit our view on what is real and what isn't. When we can look at the fear, we actually look at it and we figure out like what is really real about that, right? Fear, it's made up. Fear is a feeling, right? Like, we make it up. And so, but when we can look at that thing for really what it is, then we get to like, right, blow up that story, and that fear dissipates when we actually see it. It's like taking our light, right, that's been dimmed, and shining it on the fears so that we can then really understand what it's all about. But I hear so many times,
I just want to, it's like dusting off the size of a lantern or a light bulb.
yeah, absolutely, right? And because we only, and I hear that so many times, that's just never going to happen. I can't dream that big. I can't see that vision. I can't. And it is because we have that, right, that fear that keeps our light a little bit dim. We're talking about here today, and I think in most of our career conversations, in some way, we are trying to figure out like, how do we dust that light off? How do we take that lantern and let it shine? So now we have it as part of our superpowers to like shine it in the dark fear and say like, hey, like, right, it's the shadow. Like, what's that? There's a kid's book about, I can't remember, right? But it's about all the shadows, right? And how big and scary those shadows are. And when you really like, when you actually look at what it is, it's like, right? Like the tiniest little mouse, or like, right, a curtain blowing in the wind. Like, it's really nothing. But we get stuck in the shadows and these fears that are just that are bigger, and we think they're reality when they're not at all.
Yeah, and there's a comfort. I've come to notice that a lot of people that are comfortable in those darkness and not shining their light because they know they purposefully stay in there, because if you do shine that light, then, you know, people will see you. You know, you can't hide away anymore. And then that's the other fear, is like, well, are they going to see all these other parts I don't want them to see if I'm standing out there? What's going to happen? Or, you know, what happens if I'm like, everybody's looking at me and I trip and, you know, land on my face? So I think that's one of the parts. I mean, it's still fear, like we've all talked about, but that's another type of a fear to look at.
It's those layers, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we choose? And this is to what we each individually choose. Because I mean, all of us have had clients that we've worked with, individuals that we've worked with, that sometimes it's a fear of just showing our light. Sometimes it's a fear of how bright our light can be. Sometimes it's a fear of, I don't even know what my light is. Like, I don't know how to show up authentically as myself. And so allowing ourselves to meet ourselves where we are, and to say whatever that light is, do you just shine it within, right? Those people that are closest to you. Is that where your comfort zone is? Do you want to be a spotlight? Do you want to just be a little flicker? Right? Owning that. So part of our personal agency is also owning the choices that we have around what our light actually is in the world and how we choose to share that. So there was that part in there that I was like, yeah, and you're absolutely right. Some people who are consciously choosing to stay in the darkness, who understand it's based in fear, because there are those that are consciously choosing to do that. Like, I don't want to diminish that for them, because that is right. That level of safety is needed.
Yeah.
And to acknowledge they still have light within them.
Yes. One of the points that you made is very important, is that taking responsibility, and we talked about that too, choice. Those are very key points. Taking responsibility for all of it. It's okay if you want to stay in that darkness. At least own it. Take responsibility and remind yourself it's a choice you're making. It's not happening to you. It's a choice that you've made to stay there.
We've had a lot actually since because the minute we recognize your choice in all things, is that minute we set choose our life or ourselves. And yet most people walking this planet are not making that choice. And we are here shining our light into the world to help you do that. Is so juice. Because we have our flashlights out. We're ready. We're ready to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this conversation, right? Because it really does bring that agency back to ourselves, right? And looking within, being self-aware. And again, it's that practice. All of the things we talked about is all practice, right? And understanding that it will continue to be a practice. I don't think we ever become an expert at it. Because it's changes all the time. Life throws us all kinds of things that we need to shine a light on.
Wait, you mean we don't do this just once? And then like we got it and then we're perfect. And like all three of us have this perfected, and we don't ever have to revisit these things. We have up here.
Yeah. That would be that would be boring though.
I agree.
Boring.
I agree.
It would be boring. Every day you wake up and it's like, what's in store for me today? Bring it on. Let's see. Let's go and play.
Yeah.
Well, it's when you know you have a toolbox and you're not a level of fear gets to subside when you know that you have a toolbox and you know that you can handle whatever new thing comes up, whatever new fear comes up. The fears come up all the time. All the time. And there is a normalization that I would love to see in the world of like, yes, letting our light shine, whether it's just for us or for our community or for the world, however we choose to let that light shine, like to normalize that we have the tools that we need within ourselves, and there is no way to do it perfectly, and that there are others to go along this path with us. Like, I know there's a whole lot of convolutedness probably, but I still feel like there's something there that just to normalize that, right? Like, this is it's okay. It's okay to do it your way. You got it.
We're here, proof of doing it your way.
Yeah. It's all I'm sure.
Mhm.
Oh, sure. Atousa, this has been such a joyful conversation right from the beginning. I am so glad. Shout out to Hollis, who introduced you to us, who was on an episode many episodes ago, but just we adore Hollis here. So thank you for joining us. Where can people find you out in the world if they want to connect with you? And then we'll go back to golden minutes because I did that backwards. But where can people connect with you? Because I already started that.
My website is the best place. It's my first name, last name.com. There you go on the screen. And AtousaRaissyan.com. It has all my social media, email, ways to find me, talk to me. Everything's on there.
Beautiful. Right now we'll go back to golden nuggets. What are I was like, whatever had to connect with you. What are our golden nuggets? What are we taking away from this conversation that we're going to try a little bit more? Keep it up.
I would say do you and just have fun. Every day get up and say, what's in store for me? I know it's something good. Let's go get it done. It's all good. Really, don't take life too seriously. Even your fears, everything, just the more you have fun with it, dance with it, go for it.
Yeah, I love that. I think for me, it's this whole idea of just remembering that it's all a practice, right? And that we're not meant to figure it out completely, all at the first go. Perfectionists have such a hard time leaning into that practice space. This has been a really great conversation to say like, hey, like, that's how you grow, that's how you move, that's how you learn what's in the shadows, and that's how you embrace those fears and figure this light thing out, is all around that practice piece and knowing that you get a little bit every time, right? Every time you lean in someplace, you're a little bit wiser, a little less fearful, a little more courageous, every time. So I love that. As a recovering perfectionist, I need to be reminded constantly that, right, life is one big experiment and we practice all the time.
Yeah. Practice is progress. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get it. Malik, we also had on the show, had given me a quote one point, and I'm going to butcher it here, is, I'm not going to get it right, but it was something about practice and perfection. I'll find it and I'll upload it. My brain is apparently, I'm apparently still back with the acupuncturist and like, just good stuff, man. So my takeaway is who does that? You do that. You do that. Dude, like that, right? The ownership of who does that? You do that. And go do it. However you're gonna do it.
I love it.
Lovely. Great conversation today. Love it.
Actually. So we love having these conversations, obviously, on the podcast early. And she's so we're just so glad to have had this one with you. We have conversations a lot of places, don't we, Louise?
We sure do. Not only are we live here on Fridays, but you can catch the replay on YouTube and other places too, I imagine.
And audio only.
And audio only, because we are over on Kick-Ass Career Conversations, wherever you listen to podcasts. We also believe it or not, have a collective of people, folks and citizens who come together who are all designed to be practicing creating their own kick-ass careers. So we would love to invite you into the collective to check it out. You can get more information over there at yourkickasscareer.com to join this group of amazing folks who come together to support and lean on, encourage, inspire, all of those great things in the collective. We also, I am going to mention when you're over there on the website, you can take part in our Kick-Ass mini class series. Kim and I are putting together these really tight little snippets of mini classes of micro movements to bring macro results to your life. And you can check out our next series is in a couple weeks on the
November 30th.
30th. So we're going to be talking about micro planning and how that can all fit into your day. So we've got a lot of things going on. So please check us out in all of those spaces. Also going on next week. How's that for a segue?
Nicely done. I'm so
Chuck is going to be here with us. So I can't wait to meet Chuck. Kim, you know him. I'm looking forward to meeting him, finding the right fit. Talking to Chuck is going to be inspirational, I think, to a lot of folks out there in the audience, really connecting with how you like what we talked about today and shining your light. How do you put that into a career, and what could that look like? And Chuck has a very different view on where things have brought him to a kick-ass career. So I love it.
awesome. And she said, thank you so much for joining us again. And everybody who's had us live and on the replay, we're so glad that you took some time to listen in. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks so much. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.